Bad Juju is the latest of returning Destiny 1 exotics into Destiny 2, and like other weapons before it, it seems to have maintained a lot of its same traits, but there are some key differences. I gotta say, I tried to use this weapon for quite a while, and while I had moments that felt good with it, I think that overall it's an underwhelming weapon in PvP, and it's not bad, I guess, but it's far from being great. Let's get into the breakdown and talk about why. So first and foremost, let's get the stats out of the way. This is an exotic pulse rifle, of course, fires at 450 RPM and has 27 impact, and what this means is it deals 25 precision damage and 16 body damage, leading to a 0.87 second optimal time to kill. This takes 8 critical hits, and a 1.6 second base time to kill with 13 body shots, and in between the two, an average time to kill of 1.2 seconds with 4 crit, 6 body. The essential exotic perk of the Bad Juju is called String of Curses. Kills refill the magazine, increase damage for a short duration, and grant super energy based on the stack of String of Curses active, and courtesy of this perk, the weapon fires full auto. So this perk's got a lot to it and encompasses all the features of this exotic. It doesn't have any other real notable perks to talk about. So starting with the damage boost, this lasts 4 seconds after a kill, or 5 seconds with the catalyst, and you'll deal 25 damage, of course, without any buffs, but with the first stack of String of Curses. After 1 kill, you'll be dealing 28 damage, which is a 12% increase from the base damage. With String of Curses times 2, you'll be hitting for 30 precision damage, which is a 7% increase from the previous damage buff, 20% from base. With times 3, you'll be hitting 33 precision damage, which is 10% up from the previous, 32% up from the base precision damage. With the times 4 stack, you're going to be hitting for 35 damage, which is 6% up from the previous buff, and 40% damage up from the base damage. And finally, with times 5, you'll be landing 38 precision damage, which is 8% up from the previous buff, and a 52% damage increase from the base damage. But let's not forget that you gain super energy as a bonus from just getting kills with this weapon, based on the amount of stacks you have of String of Curses, in addition to the damage buff that it grants you. You can see on screen here, I have compared all the different levels of String of Curses, and even included just a normal pulse rifle kill and how much super energy you get for that. And my takeaway here is that the super energy increase from kills and stacks of String of Curses felt honestly relatively minuscule and not the most significant. On the first initial single kill, there's nearly no difference between this weapon getting a kill and a normal pulse rifle. And there's only a slight difference, I'd say, for double kills, and you only really get into a more noticeable difference in super energy gain for triple kills and onward. And we have to think about that, and I'll revisit this, but how likely are you to be getting double kills and triple kills regularly in PvP to get that bonus super energy? And if you're not doing that, are you really getting much out of this weapon? Before we get more into that discussion though, let's talk about the stats on this weapon. It's got 79 stability and 85 recoil direction, 46 range, 60 aim assist, 60 handling, 52 reload, and a 27 bullet magazine. I thought the stability on this weapon was somewhat awkward in my experience. Shooting the weapon feels kind of floaty, for lack of a better word, and each shot was pretty jumpy. It had quite a bit of bounce on it, despite such a pretty reasonably high stability stat. But even though I felt that each shot had quite a bit of bounce to it, I gotta say the recoil of the bullet seemed relatively consistent and pretty smooth, with very little screen shake. Range felt pretty average on Bad Juju, almost as if it performed best within or maybe at the outer limits of hand cannon range, but nothing close to some other pulses in the game. To confirm though, the damage drop off for this weapon started at 39 meters. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, and I think this is actually perhaps how pulses should be balanced in general, but in a world of pulses in this game that can function at scout ranges and some hand cannons even that can compete at around 35 meters, this tends to feel underpowered and in a pretty awkward place, struggling to find a home in where it really feels good in and other weapons don't dominate it. Handling and reload weren't really any sort of a concern. Handling was about average, nothing that was too noticeably quick or sluggish and limiting, and reload really wasn't much of a thought. It was average, but either way, the majority of the time, it didn't really feel like you were reloading, as each kill reloaded the mag for you. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I think Bad Juju is underwhelming in PvP and not the exotic pulse rifle to be using in PvP. Sure, it does have some good qualities. I came to really enjoy the full auto and actually the hipfire accuracy and hipfire grip on this weapon, and the full auto, high stability, and hipfire grip, but we have to think about this weapon as an exotic. Sure, it's got full auto, it's got a rampage style effect, it's got some interesting synergy between the hipfire, the stability, and the full auto, which is kind of nice, and it reloads your weapon on kills. But is this good enough as an exotic to be making a difference? And in my opinion, it's not. The main thing that people are going to be using this weapon for is super energy. And this weapon doesn't really give you a significant portion of super energy unless you're getting maybe double kills, but mainly triple kills and onward. And when you're facing people of equal skill to you, maybe you can get by with this weapon in quick play and, you know, taking good angles on people, proccing the damage buff, and going on a little bit of a tear. Sure, I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but at the same time, in the majority of cases, I don't think you're going to be getting enough triple kills to actually see a huge gain in super energy to the point that it's actually quite significant. And then you've got to think about, if you're not really getting super energy and the other traits of the weapon are perks that can kind of be found on other weapons, then is this really worth the exotic slot? In PvP, I say no. But I will say that this is a good thing. I think this weapon's perk and its super gain is clearly designed for PvE. I think it's clearly designed to be good in PvE against trash mobs and getting your super quickly off of clearing mobs with this weapon, with the auto reload effect, with the full auto, with the super gain, with the damage buff, and I think that is great. I think they balance this really well because right now, supers are very, very strong in Destiny 2. I would say too strong. You can get them too quickly, they last too long, they have a ton of armor. I know this is a different discussion, but we don't need something adding on to how easy it is to get supers because of how strong they are currently. So I think this balancing that they've done really makes it focus in as a good PvE weapon. Sure, there are some loadouts. Sure, maybe you can use this weapon if you like it or if you think it feels good, but in my opinion, it's just not worth your exotic slot in PvP. I'd imagine in PvE, the Bad Juju is actually pretty damn good. It's probably a monster at ad clearing, and you get your super faster because of it, and you can maintain that string of curses ×5 against, you know, a large group of ads, which would probably get your super pretty quickly. Switching gears back to PvP for this weapon, I mentioned that it feels underpowered and is in an awkward place and struggles to find an effective range because of two things. Because other pulses seem to work at such farther ranges, and hand cannons can also intrude on this weapon's effective range. So I think this weapon's range is actually balanced like pretty dang well, but hand cannons have so much range that they're still effective against this, and they deal so much flinch to this weapon that it'll knock its bullets off target. And when you have a 100% critical hit ratio required to get an optimal time to kill, or you suffer a worse time to kill even at the average level against hand cannons, well, I mean, you're probably not going to be the most competitive and most likely get outgunned against a good player. And that's exactly what happened to me. Yes, there were times where the weapon felt pretty good, but other times against hand cannons like Ace of Spades, like Not Forgotten, like The Last Word, this weapon cannot compete. And then against other pulse rifles that have longer range, this weapon cannot compete in my opinion. So I don't again think it's worth the exotic slot at this moment in PvP, and is probably best in PvE. Anyways, everyone, that's my review of the Bad Juju. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Be sure to leave them there. And if you'd like to see more content like this, I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys. I hope to see you there. But if not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.